Claw Scott, and today we are reviewing Elvis, a film by Baz Luhrmann.
What are your first initial thoughts about the movie?
So other than I saw this against my will. No, I'm just kidding. No, I voluntarily saw this film, knowing kind of a little bit about what they were trying to do, at least. But I know that I like Baz Luhrmann's films. They're very stylish. There's lots of really cool cuts or scenes and things. So I figured that it was going to be to some extent artful. I didn't really care for the story. I was mainly there for like the style, cinematography. I don't know. I've never seen Austin Butler in anything. Tom Cruise, this was an interesting character to see him in, and the Colonel being Elvis's manager. But there were just so many things. What are your initial thoughts?
So I like Baz Luhrmann movies. I think he does a really great job. This is not an Elvis biography, right? This is about a story. This is a story about a guy who did exist, whose name was Elvis, who did some of these things. I went in knowing that Tom Hanks doesn't usually play bad guys.
Yep.
And everything I've ever read about the Colonel has been not good, right? Like he's seemingly a terrible human being. So it was interesting from that perspective, like, oh, they're going to try to tell this from, in the trailer, he says, we're just two lonely people reaching for the heavens, something like that. So I thought, oh, they're going to try to make this, is this going to be about the Colonel more than it is about Elvis, which would be an interesting story too. But I don't want to whitewash it, right? Like tell, if there's a story there, tell us the story.
Yep.
And I do think it got whitewashed a lot till the very end when they were like going through like, here's what happened. Like the Colonel ended up going, all of his. I thought Austin Butler did a good job. Like no one's going to be Elvis, right? So, but he did a really good job.
Yep.
I love that they used the footage from his last concert.
Yeah.
That was
at the very, very end.
Yeah, because they didn't have to, right? He has a big budget. If he wanted to reshoot it, he certainly could have reshot it with Austin Butler. But that was just such a great sort of end to it. I don't know how much of it is true. I sort of expected they would do more of the things that I wasn't, of course, around when Elvis was big. My mom really liked Elvis, though. You hear about the shows that he did that were iconic, and they didn't really show those.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I thought for sure they would. I thought that's why the movie was so long, honestly. When going in, I thought, oh, because they're going to do all of his big performances. And but they didn't. I thought it was entertaining, but not a good factual telling of his life or the Colonel's life.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we were going to go in, to your point, with the view of the Colonel and how they found each other and ultimately his point of view. And it ended up becoming kind of the typical biography. And then at the end, it wasn't even his perspective anymore. It was the perspective of kind of what everybody else saw of him. And then it was, kind of how he lived, until 97 and was, died poor. But it was never about, kind of his involvement, his point of view. It started with his point of view, and then it went into kind of Elvis's point of view and the people he surrounded himself with, the limited, concerts and things. And I wonder if that's due to rights issues or, footage, or the way that just Baz wanted to do his own interpretation. And there were some parts where I'm like, okay, this could have been cut, or this, we've seen something, we don't need to go back to it to just further drive the point. We see it already in performances, or we see it already in his mannerisms or whatever. I think that they were trying to do a lot by showing the breadth, but the point of view would have been great, and it didn't stick to it at all.
Yeah, it was entertaining, and I would recommend it to people, especially if you're an Elvis fan.
Yeah,
for sure, go see it.
I know no Elvis fans. I think I like once had worked with a vendor who for sure was like an Elvis impersonator,
That's
but
fun.
yeah, I didn't put two and two together until like someone said something. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm sure that they would love this film. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of pressure around Austin Butler for like what he did because so many people have tried to do this. And, I think that the fans are very particular with whom they like to have portray Elvis. But I think that he did an excellent job.
Yeah. And the woman who played Priscilla did a really
Mhm.
good, like she looked like Priscilla in the younger days.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Graceland?
I have not. Have you?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've been twice.
Oh my gosh. So you're like, your mom was like a diehard fan.
Well, no, so I was in, where is Graceland? Is it Memphis?
Yes.
Yes. So I was in Memphis for work and I was
Oh,
just
okay.
like, oh, while I'm here, I'm just gonna go to Graceland. Like, why not? I didn't realize before I started on that journey that it's not actually downtown Memphis. Like you had to go out kind
Oh
of
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be
like
way like far out because there's no way. Like I can't think of anybody who like a celebrity or like a popular person would own anything like in the city of.
yeah. So like I went there when I was down there for work and then Dax and I went to Memphis and we went, he had never been, so we went to Graceland. But
It's like a museum.
it is like
Okay.
there's the house and then there's like like another building that has all of this like stuff in it, like all his gold records, all of his jumpsuits, all of his like stuff. The Lisa Marie plane is parked in the back,
Oh
like
my
all the
gosh.
Cadillacs are there, like it's like this whole like thing experience. And we were there like maybe 10-15 years ago, but like
Mhm.
now it's even more built up because I had a friend who went there a couple years ago and she's like, there's a shuttle bus now and the tickets are timed entry and like it's a like very orchestrated thing to visit Graceland now.
Wow.
Yeah. But it seemed always to me like if you go to Graceland, it's a very like he's a very tragic figure, right? Like he was the first person to really experience that level of fame and no one before him like had ever needed to deal with that.
Yeah.
It was just kind of he just didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And
And there was no
that's
one
not
there to
his
like
fault.
support him.
And his mom died when he was really young. And so, it wasn't it's tragic. Like he it could have his career could have been so much different, so
Mhm.
much longer than it was if he had sort of had any sort of support around him, like actual support.
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah, feel like he's one of the first like cautionary tales of stardom.
for sure, for sure. Like when you see like the BTS guys, right? Like first of all, they're a group, but they're like superstars, and they have an entourage of people around them, like help. Like
Mhm.
they're going to see therapists, and like there are people who are
Yeah.
working on their mental health and things like that. Where like none of that even existed. Like it wasn't. What do you
No, because yeah, it's like you can easily pay off a doctor to do whatever that needs to be done so that you get out there and go. I mean, gosh, look at Britney Spears. Like, um, definitely takes people who care about your well-being. And I feel like that's now I mean, who knows? Like BTS is a great example of that, of like having the support system and being like this global entity. But I mean, this is we're in the 2010s now or 2020s. Oh my gosh, we're in the 2020s. 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago, there were no guardrails.
No, no. So poor Elvis.
Yeah.
Let's go to the slides. Acting two.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that like Tom Hanks, I don't know. When was Tom Hanks like a bad character? What, the Ladykillers maybe? So maybe this is his second or
Oh, you know what? I
third.
never saw him in the Ladykillers. I saw the original Ladykillers with
Mm,
Alec Guinness. Uh, but
yeah, I thought it was just okay.
um, cinematography, though, you gave it a 3. Costumes,
Yeah.
3.
Yep.
Only reason I didn't give, like, I don't know. I felt like costumes, hair and makeup, like it all kind of rolled together. And there were so many things that you could have looked at. Like people weren't doing original things, right? You were just
Right.
you were trying to recreate something that already existed, which is hard, but
Yes.
you at least have like a direction that you're headed in. Same thing with jewelry. Like they did a good job, like with his like TCB logo and
Yeah. The
the ring.
massive rings. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which absolutely are based on jewelry that he wore. So
Mhm.
props to them for recreating that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I thought it was, yeah, it was just okay.
it's
But I
hard.
did have, I would have to say, I really liked some of the edits. Like the cuts between scenes. There's one that stands out to me where I think he was like Elvis was throwing his guitar. It was like a 3 shot or 3 like windowed screen. And he's throwing his guitar and it like skips the middle screen and goes to the next one where someone catches it. And I was like, actually, that's pretty cool. Um, in just like the flurry of showing like how many shows he had to do, and he was unaware of the contract that was you know written up because of the colonel and his debts to the international hotel. And also like yeah, I just thought that was really good storytelling.
Definitely. We both gave it a 2 from a soundtrack perspective.
I didn't think it was that great, the way that it was. Like there were some songs that were interloped with like modern day songs like Britney
Mhm.
Spears Toxic, and I was just like, no.
It was an interesting choice. I did like the songs that the other performers sang though. Like when they
Okay.
would go to the like when he would go to the club.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that was great. Like because I did go into it expecting that it was just going to be Elvis songs,
Well,
like
I mean,
traditional
they
Elvis.
kind of were, considering he stole them or stole like beats, melodies, choruses, like. And so I think the storyteller was trying to tell you that these songs existed in some way, shape, or form that he then made popular by changing some things, but at the core, like it came from rhythm and blues. I understand what they're trying to do, but it was like, yeah, he took a lot of things from other artists that would never be able to get the credit.
Right. That would not fly today.
No. Interesting callback, but then at the same time it's like the Baz Luhrmann like razzle and dazzle of like remixing songs so that it's up upbeat and up tempo in like the Elvis movie. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That's what this is. Do you have anything to plug for this episode?
So many movies to watch, so many. Looking forward to trying to catch more films while they're in theater.
Yeah, like we're gonna see Nope. What else do you have on your list for this week?
I need to see Marcel the Shell.
Oh yeah, that's so cute.
There's some other like Mad God I need was told to check out. I'll send you the details. Special effects person who created started on their own film, and I hear great things.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? What do you have to plug?
Nothing. I did just see this morning Both Sides of the Blade.
Hmm.
So that was interesting. French, the guy who was the dad in Titane, is in it with Juliette Binoche. Again, I wasn't planning on seeing it this weekend, but AMC, it's an IFC film, so it's small distribution. It's playing at 12:45 today or something like 10:45 tonight. And then for the rest of the week, it looks like 12:45 in the afternoon, which means if I didn't get to it today, I wasn't getting to it. It was interesting. I will say it seems very French in its storyline. Like at the end, you're like, huh. But good. I mean, of course, like Juliette Binoche, love her. So, but yes, if anyone has time this week in the middle of the day and wants to go see it, I recommend.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next time.
See you next time.